Hello, race fans, and welcome to the halfway point of the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour at the Dells Park Raceway. For those that weren't with us this past Saturday, we were at the Galesburg Speedway for some good old short track racing out in Michigan to complete our Michigan tour, if you will. And now we have headed up over here to Wisconsin. Of course, last week it was Carson Miller that got the job done in very dominating fashion. The race got cut short, unfortunately, due to our power being switched off of the generator. So that's why that video that you just saw over on the WRLA YouTube channel had cut off. But nonetheless, we were past halfway, so that meant that all the results were official. And Carson Miller managed to walk away with the victory and all of the points here for the second race of the season for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. And now we're here in Wisconsin for the Dells Raceway Park. And it's definitely going to be a very fun one here. And we're going to be going 200 laps instead of the last two races where we went 150 laps. So it's definitely going to be a very fun time here at the Dells Raceway Park. Let's go ahead and review your point standings coming into this weekend. It is Val Moscow who still holds on to the points lead. And as we're going to go ahead and move this up just a little bit more, I might have also made a little boo-boo. Actually, no, I did not. I did not make a boo-boo whatsoever. So as you can see on your screen, this is what your point standings do look like coming into tonight's race. Val Moscow still holds on to the points lead. We're going to go ahead and get this evened out here. And presto, I would believe right there. So Moscow comes in with the points lead. This past Saturday's winner, Carson Miller, comes up to second in the points with 48. And then you have Travis Crampton and Terry Walker, two NOS Energy Cup Series drivers, tied for the third spot. Of course, Crampton third and Terry Walker fourth. Our celebrity driver, BB Hange, completes your top five with 32 points. Also tied with Bryce Egan, who is in sixth. And then in seventh is our highest running Xfinity Series driver. That would be Ryan Kendall in the seventh position. Then in eighth is Claire Phillips, tied with Alexander Rowe and Sarah Taylor, who are both ninth and 10th in the point standings, respectively. Wyatt Walker, who managed to take home his second consecutive top 10, holds on to 11th with 19 points. And then you got another tie with Russell Blaze and Max Anderson with 17. And then Emmanuel Hartnett, not doing all that well over here in the Hoosier Summer Tour. He is 14th in the standings with 15 points to his name. And then you got Tyler Ferris, the last driver, with double digits with the points with 13. And then you got 7 points each for Eric Blaze and Eli Bright. Kenny Stremme with 5. Joshua Neely with 4. Nathan Stapleton, the lowest cup driver, with 3. Diacomo, the lowest truck driver, with 2, along with Ajax Fitzgerald, the lowest cup driver, Xfinity driver, with 2 points as well. We do also have the wrong graphic over here, so we're going to we should go ahead and make that update here really quick. So that actually should not take all that long. So just give me one solid second, and then we'll get that graphic updated here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is the third race of the season. That is the halfway mark of the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour season, the inaugural running of the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. And it actually has been a very fun, it's definitely been a very fun season nonetheless so far. I mean, it's just all been for fun. No, really nothing all that crazy on the line other than being the first ever Hoosier Summer Tour champion, and also just getting the bragging rights, if you will, for which division has some of the best talent and some of the best drivers. So right now, the NOS Energy Cup Series currently has that with Val Moscow, who repeated history just a couple of weeks ago by winning our season opener at the Kalamazoo Speedway. And then following it up was our Menards Truck Series driver of Carson Miller, who wound up winning at Galesburg in a shortened race out there in Galesburg, Michigan. So we're going to go ahead and get this graphic updated for you guys, and because we are live on YouTube and not Twitch, but we will be live on Twitch tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Menards Truck Series action at the Jukasa Speedway. So that's definitely going to be some good action out there. But we got to, before we get to that point, we got to focus on tonight. Let's go ahead and review your starting lineup here for our third race of the season here at Dell's Raceway Park. It is Eric Blaze who starts on the pole position with Emmanuel Hartnett lining up alongside. Then it's Max Anderson and Bryce Egan in the second row. And then you get back to the highest starting NOS Energy Cup driver, that being Russell Blaze in the fifth position. And then Bruno Diacomo in the completing row number 3, and then Travis Crampton, Val Moscow, row 4, Claire Phillips, and Carson Miller, row number 5. And then you got BB Hanger, celebrity driver, and Ryan Kendall in row 6. In row 7, that's Sarah Taylor and also Ajax Fitzgerald, Tyler Ferris, and then Terry Walker in row 8. Row 9 sees Wyatt Walker and Alexander Rowe, Eli Bright, Kenny Stremme in row 10, and then rounding out your provisional starting spots are Nathan Stapleton and Joshua Neely. Well, drivers, to your ladies and gentlemen, I believe I've done all the talking that I can here, but we're now here at the Dell's Raceway Park, and so far we've had 2 different winners. Both of them have won in very dominating fashion. Can Eric Blaze make that 3 in a row for dominating wins here in the Hoosier Summer Tour? We're about to find out. Let's go trackside as the drivers are strapped into the cars. The pre-race ceremonies are wrapping up. But in order to get these drivers rolling on the track, let's go trackside to get the command to fire these engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
And there it is. Engines are fired. Pace car is going to roll off into the infield. And these drivers, they're going to make their way around the racetrack. And they're going to get this 200 lapper started from here at the Dell's Raceway Park. They come through turns 3 and 4. Eric Blaze, Emmanuel Hartnett, they're going to be lined up on the front straightaway, and green flag flies, and we're underway here in Wisconsin. Oh, down into turn number 1. Looks like the 34 of Bryce Egan's going to make it 3 wide coming off of the 4th corner. It's going to put Hartnett up on the high side, and then Russell Blaze breaking out and trying to get that 3rd position away. But you got Travis Crampton breathing down his neck in that 55 machine as they head through turns 1 and 2. Eric Blaze has led the opening 2 laps so far. Max Anderson has also broken free from the pack, and now Russell Blaze breaks free from the pack as well. He moves up into 3rd. Emmanuel Hartnett in trouble as now he slips back from the outside pole starting spot all the way back to 8th, and he's going to lose what looks to be the 9th position as they cross the start-finish line this time by. He might lose that 9th spot to the number 2 of Tyler Ferris as Ferris goes to the inside. But also the 34 Bryce Egan was shoved way up high and probably might be forced in a 3 wide situation if he's not careful, because you got Eli Bright in the 24. There's Emmanuel Hartnett in the 7, and they are 3 wide once again. Here comes even Nathan Stapleton in the 97. Now starting to make a charge here, almost riding on the left rear quarter panel of Emmanuel Hartnett, and we got a crash. I think we had a little bit of a spin going through turn number 3, but looks to be like no harm, no foul. That might have been Ryan Kendall in the 00 because he seems to be well off the pace from the rest of the pack. So I think that spin might have come from him, and we managed to keep it clean and green. So we are still all good. But that is very heartbreaking there for Ryan Kendall in the early stages of this event here in Dell's Raceway Park. It looks like the top, well, looks to be 10. They've all broken into a single file rhythm, but you got Carson Miller in that 71. Already getting on the offense. Down to the inside he goes on Wyatt Walker. That is going to be for the 14th position. Last Saturday's winner back on 4th of July, Carson Miller. Moving up into the 14th position, and they're fighting hard yet again over here mid-pack. Bruno Giacomo in the 77. Dive bombs it going into turn number 3 on Wyatt Walker, and Walker is in trouble in the number 19 machine as he is fading back along with Ajax Fitzgerald in the 88. You also got Joshua Neely in the 8. Also trying to make up some ground. Currently scored in the 19th spot. He's going to take that 18th position away from the 19 of Wyatt Walker. And meanwhile, further, just a little bit further up, Fitzgerald getting to the inside of Bruno Giacomo. That is going to be for the 16th position. And Walker immediately going back down on the offense on Joshua Neely, who ran wide through turns 3 and 4. Alexander Rowe making something happen as he gets to the inside of Neely going through turns 3 and 4. Looks like that 8 car has just been running it completely wide on all the turns, and he just pretty much did the exact same thing through 1 and 2. That enabled our points leader Val Mosco to get to the inside, and now Mosco gonna go try to get 2 birds with 1 stone, currently in the 19th position. Now sets his sights on the 77 of Giacomo for the 18th position. Coming through turn 4 now. Not able to make it stick there, but he goes wide through turn 1. That definitely messed up his turn 2 there, but let's focus a little bit further up in the pack. Looks like everybody's kind of gotten themselves into a little rhythm of, for the most part, single file. But my oh my, I mean, like we've seen this same song and dance, you know, for the last couple of races here in the Hoosier Summer Tour. It doesn't really surprise me all that much to really kind of see the end result kind of turn into a single file train, if you will. But my goodness gracious. We could also catch up to some slower traffic. Of course, Ryan Kendall, remember, he started 12th in this race, and I think he was the guy that wound up getting spun in turn number 3. And in doing so, he lost a lot of momentum in the process, and that's what kicked him all the way back over here in the 22nd position. But Kendall has closed back in on Alexander Rowe, but you got Eric Blaze in the 33, who is leading the charge, and he's led the first 8th of this race, has led every lap since the start of this event. And actually some big news coming out of the Death Rider Racing camp, and we'll put this in the WRLA Discord later on. But ladies and gentlemen, of course, Eric Blaze has been the driver of the number 26 in the NOS Energy Cup Series on a part-time basis, but he will be sitting out this weekend when the Cup Series returns at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. The driver of the number 26 for this upcoming weekend will be Joshua Neely in the number 8 machine. So it is definitely going to be fun to see if Neely can make his NOS Energy Cup Series debut. He's currently the highest out of all the Death Rider Racing cars in the Xfinity Series, and if things continue to go the direction that it is for Neely, he could be the new driver of the 4th entry for Death Rider Racing next year. But there's still plenty of racing to go in the 2026 WRLA season. Val Mosco picks up another spot on Wyatt Walker, so he moves up into the 18th position. And Walker, oh boy, Joshua Neely, very close call, as he almost turned Wyatt Walker into turn 3. But Walker is absolutely just fading. So unfortunately, that string of top 10 finishes may come to an end here tonight. He finished 10th at Kalamazoo and then finished 9th this past Saturday at Galesburg. But nonetheless, everybody has gotten themselves into a green flag rhythm. But I'm going to tell you this as well. When we go to Anderson Speedway in a couple of weeks on the 22nd of July, boy, those drivers, they're going to be going as fast as what they would at Bristol. High speed, and definitely the potential of a lot of action over at the Anderson Speedway. And that is definitely going to be a lot of fun, especially because that's going to be one of Nathan Stapleton's home tracks, if you will. And he has said himself that he has never been to the Anderson Speedway in real life. Definitely has visited it plenty of times in NR 2003, and in a couple of weeks, actually, I do believe right around the weekend, that same weekend that the Hoosier Summer Tour goes to the Anderson Speedway, I think the NOS Energy Cup Series and the Xfinity Series, even the Menards Truck Series, will all be at Indianapolis. Of course, the Truck Series will be at the Indianapolis Raceway Park, and the Xfinity Cup Series will be at the Brickyard. So, could be a hometown advantage for Nathan Stapleton, as he's currently riding in the 10th position. So, things are definitely looking up for the number 97 team, as they are currently just riding inside of the top 10. Tire wear could potentially be an issue as this race goes on, but what also could happen is a change of hands here when it comes to this third spot. Travis Crampton has closed in on Russell Blaze in the number 3. And he's right there on the back bumper of that sun drop machine, and he could make something happen at any given point. Just pulling up to the back bumper of Blaze, just letting him know that, hey, I've got a faster car and I'm here, but it is pretty early, and I'm not going to do anything egregious to try to get by you. So for right now, Crampton just riding in that 4th position, maybe hoping that Russell Blaze makes a mistake here, but looks like that 55 goes a little bit wide going through turn number 2. And that might open up the door for Claire Phillips to make something happen if Crampton winds up making another mistake. The gap between the 33 and also the 38 is still 2/3 of a second. They're also coming up on Ryan Kendall in the 00. But we are closing in on the 1/4 mark of the 3rd race of the season here for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. And Max Anderson in the number 38 is actually kind of impressive to me that so far we have the highest running Xfinity Series driver in 1st, the highest truck driver running in the 2nd position, and the highest NOS Energy Cup driver currently is occupied by Russell Blaze in car number 3, currently running in P3 as of right now. Travis Crampton in 4th, and then Claire Phillips rounds out your top 5. So 3 NOS Energy Cup Series drivers, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then you have your celebrity driver at BB Hange, currently running in the 6th position. Currently, maybe might have a little bit of pressure from behind, as you got the 29F Sarah Taylor trying to close in and maybe see if she can take advantage and try to get by BB Hange for that 6th position. We are 1/4 of the way through the 3rd race of the season for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. For those that are just now tuning in, Eric Blaze started on the pole, and he's led every lap since the drop of the green flag, and we could very well see our 3rd consecutive race where the driver that starts on the pole goes on to lead every lap and collect all the bonus points and win the race in the process. So Eric Blaze could very well do it here tonight. So long as the motor doesn't blow or the tires don't lose grip, this race could be in the bag of Eric Blaze in the next 145 laps if things go accordingly. Got a nice little view of the pace car there. Just trying to cycle through the field. But it'll only be a matter of time before I do believe we start to see some tire fall off here at not New Smyrna. I have the All-Star race for the JBL Cup Series on my mind still, but Dell's Raceway Park, as Blaze runs it a little wide going through turns 1 and 2. Gathers it back up going into turn number 3. He's going to keep that car pinned to the bottom going through turn number 4. And definitely pulls away from Crampton by a couple tenths. Cycling through the field here. Here's Emmanuel Hartnett. He started outside pole here for this event, and currently he has fallen back into the 11th position in car number 7. Bryce Egan in the 34. So all the Menards Truck Series drivers, all 7 of them, we'll see them tomorrow. Hartnett, of course, also the 34 of Bryce Egan. Our runner-up, Max Anderson. Another driver we'll see tomorrow, along with Tyler Ferris and Eli Bright. And even the 71 of Carson Miller. The 77 of Bruno Diacomo. Yeah, that's pretty much all the drivers that we're going to see tomorrow night when the Truck Series returns to the Jukasa Speedway out in Ontario, Canada. You'll be able to catch all the action at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch. So that's definitely going to be a very fun one. Eli Bright up into the 10th spot. So this number 24 definitely starting to build a little bit more momentum as we continue on here in this season. I was going to say for the 24 of Eli Bright, if I go back and actually look at the point standings coming into this race, let me actually go ahead and pull those up. The 24 of Eli Bright comes in at least 16th in the point standings with 7 points to his name, to his credit. So he is the highest driver other than Eric Blaze that is currently still in the single digits when it comes to the points brackets. So there is definitely a very good opportunity for the 24 to rack up some pretty decent points and bring himself into that double digits category when it comes to the point standings. And they're definitely going to shake up quite a bit here because Eric Blaze in this number 33 is well on his way to collecting those 5 bonus points for leading the most laps here tonight. "73 laps complete." And boy, Russell Blaze sitting in that 3rd spot. He's got to be absolutely proud of his son Eric right now. In the Xfinity Series side, he's been able to get some good runs put together to finally sort of climb his way out of the hole that he found himself in at the beginning of the season back at Daytona, when he got caught up in a massive crash that with you know, several drivers going 4 wide going into turn number 3. But he's been able to pull it back together since then. And also, you got to throw in there as well, Russell Blaze himself got himself his 2nd NOS Energy Cup Series win at Talladega earlier this year, back in May. So it's definitely pretty impressive that the Blazes are definitely doing pretty good, but it's also, you got to look at Eric Blaze in this number 33, who's just didn't get off on the right foot in the Xfinity Series, as I pointed out, but he's been able to turn it around since then, and a bunch of definitely a good amount of runs, good runs, and good finishes that date back to Iowa earlier this year, back in the month of May of all times, but he still has yet to score a win in the Xfinity Series, but maybe, who knows, maybe a win here in the Hoosier Summer Tour could build some confidence when the Xfinity Series comes back in just a couple of weeks' time, if I actually go back and take a look at the schedule here for the Xfinity Series, the next time that they return, I cannot believe I'm drawing a blank here, but I'm gonna go back and pull up the schedule, because they come back on July 17th at the Nashville Superspeedway, so that would be next Friday. So definitely could be a big confidence booster for Eric Blaze when the Xfinity Series comes back at the Nashville Superspeedway next weekend. Still maintaining a 2/3 of a second lead, though, over Max Anderson in the number 38, who also has definitely put together some good runs, you know, as of late in the Menards Truck Series. And I mean, hopefully it does translate to Jukasa Speedway tomorrow night when the Truck Series returns then. At least fingers crossed, if you will. For those that are just now tuning in, we are 12 laps away from the halfway point in the third race of the season for the WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour. The third consecutive time, as you are seeing, it is a ring of cars that are just basically pacing around, if you will. And Eric Blaze is leading them all, leading the charge as of right now. He has led every single lap since the start of the race. He had started this event on the pole position, and this is where he's been ever since. Running in second is the 38 of Max Anderson. Eric Blaze's father, Russell, currently running in third. So Anderson in the meat in the Blaze sandwich, if you will. Running in the fourth spot is Travis Crampton, then Claire Phillips completes your top five. And running in the sixth position is our celebrity driver, BB Hange. Running in seventh is the 29. That would be piloted by Sarah Taylor. Running in eighth is Tyler Ferris. Running in ninth is the 97 of Nathan Stapleton. And Eli Bright completes your top 10 with now 93 laps of action in the books coming up. And further up ahead, I think you saw Ryan Kendall in the 00. He's trying to fight to get by this 43 of Alexander Rowe, because he knows the leader is right behind him, and he definitely does not want to go a lap down whatsoever. So he definitely, Kendall's going to do everything in his ability to make sure that this night does not go from bad to worse. I mean, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But anything is sort of is possible, really, at this race. So Rowe could potentially make a mistake here, and that might be the opening that Ryan Kendall needs to get by for that 21st position. But I think it's only a matter of time before we start to see a little bit of some tire wear, a little bit of tire fall off as we are on the halfway lap here at the Dells Raceway Park. So Eric Blaze easily going to collect those 5 bonus points for leading the most laps here tonight. And everybody's just kind of minding their own P's and Q's. And just remember here, folks, that the summer tour will take 1 week off next week, and we'll be back in action at the Anderson Speedway on Wednesday night, July 22nd, to begin our second half of the season, our second set of 3 races. And it's definitely going to be very fun. Because if you thought that these first 3 races were going to be tame, oh, you better think again, because we're going to Anderson Speedway next, at least 2 weeks' time, on the 22nd of July, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over here on the WRLA YouTube channel. And after doing a little bit of testing there, the action is going to be absolutely spectacular and very, very high speed, pedal to the metal, bumper to bumper action. And we're very much looking forward to it. Kendall closing in on the back bumper. Or at least Blaze is, that is, closing in on the back bumper of the 00 of Ryan Kendall. Looking to try to put that 00 one lap down, but Blaze goes a little bit wide. And that will allow Max Anderson to close in. He just bit into that lead by about 3/10. I think Eric Blaze is going to try to pull it back together some way, shape, or form. And he's definitely going to do it pretty quickly here, because even though he lost another 10th there, I mean, he will eventually gain it back. He might be doing it in this run, heading through turns 3 and 4. Gained another 100th there. But Max Anderson is practically right there. He's better hope and pray that Anderson himself doesn't make a mistake. Now down to almost a quarter of a second. Could we potentially see a battle for the race lead with... Oh no! Anderson goes wide. He absolutely whiffed the corner. And now here comes Russell Blaze in the 3 to potentially make something happen for that second spot. Oh, he's got a nose to the inside. Maybe try to pull up alongside, going through turn 1 and 2. And here we go. Side by side for the runner-up position. Max Anderson trying to fight back around the outside, but give it to the 3 of Russell Blaze. So you got the duo of father and son, Russell and Eric, 1 and 2, here at Dells Raceway Park, coming to 85 laps to go. And, well, the son better be loving what he sees. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, wait, pit stops. Never mind. I think we're going to have pit stops. I thought for a moment that genuinely Russell Blaze was going to be up into the outside wall, but actually, I don't think that might have been scheduled. At least that's what I'm seeing, but actually, nope, that is the case. Eric Blaze pulls up high, goes off the racetrack, and we're going to have... Oh, no! Travis Crampton absolutely creamed the pit official, and the caution flag flies. Wow. He absolutely just pile drove the pit entry. Ross Chastain's it off the racetrack and into the pit area on the outside of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Caution flag flies. Oh, Moscow with some damage as he rear ends Bryce Egan, as these drivers make their way back onto the racing surface. And your race leader after all of that is the 38 of Max Anderson, and I believe the 88 of Ajax Fitzgerald. Unfortunately, I hate to... Oh, wait a minute. Sarah Taylor around. We're definitely going to have to watch a replay of what happened at the end of this race, because there's definitely so much that just happened here. Sarah Taylor with a ton of damage. Terry Walker currently is the leader. Wyatt Walker making his way back out onto the racetrack, at least making his way into the pits. Terry Walker on pit lane. What is going on? I see Carson Miller with damage. Eli Bright into the pit area. I'm so confused with what's happening here. But I think after all of that, the lead might have just cycled back. What is happening? The pace car, we just got one to go. Oh my god, this is messy. This is absolutely messy here, folks. Absolutely messy. Hartnett trying to get by the pace car, and I believe the lead just cycled over to Kenny Stremme. Or did it? Wait a minute, Max Anderson's still the leader, and oh, Crampton around again off the bumper of Stapleton. Oh my goodness, what in the world is going on? Everybody from Kenny Stremme on back is all currently on the tail end of the lead lap. Max Anderson currently your race leader as of right now, with BB Hange in second. Looks like Eli Bright has sustained a lot more damage to that number 24. But boy, it has to be an absolute miracle that he can see out the windshield, especially with as much damage as he has on the hood. But up front, challenge for the lead is on. BB Hange goes right on by. He's going to take over the top position from Max Anderson. The fight for the lead is on in the middle of this pack. Terry Walker in third. Anderson back down to the bottom. And he's going to take the lead right back. But oh my goodness gracious. We are going to have to take a look at a replay of everything that just transpired at the end of this race here. So stand by for replays once this race concludes. Now Max Anderson, since he grabbed the lead right back, he is now going to go to work on getting around all these other cars to try to get back in front of this pack. Gets by Taylor. Now he's going to get by Tyler Ferris potentially. Maybe not. BB Hange to the inside of Wyatt Walker. Man, this is an absolute bizarre race. Absolutely wild action that we're seeing here out of Dell's Raceway Park. Just absolute chaos and mayhem under the caution. Several drivers blocking each other, running into one another, just trying to get to the pits and off the racing surface and into the pits, that is, and just complete and utter pandemonium. With less than 75 laps to go, at least now 65 to go, with Max Anderson leading the charge. Honestly, very, very tough break for several drivers that were definitely up front and had a potential shot to win this race. Eric Blaze still on the lead lap, in the 9th position, just out ahead of race leader Max Anderson, the guy that he had been forcing to play second fiddle, who is now leading this race. Wyatt Walker now the first car, 1 lap down. But man, just look at the damage on the 33 of Eric Blaze, as that Bennett machine has been absolutely crunched in the rear end. But Blaze gets by Tyler Ferris for 8th. Bruno Giacomo trying to set his sights on Ferris for 9th as they head back into turn 1. Ooh, Anderson goes a little bit wide through turn 2. That may open up the door for Wyatt Walker to try to get back on the lead lap. And maybe if another caution comes out, it might give him a chance to maybe get himself another top 10 finish. But so far, that has not been the case, as Anderson runs wide through turn 4. He's now opened up a 2-second gap on runner-up Terry Walker. And boy, this is kind of familiar territory for Terry Walker in this number 20. Remember, he finished second at the Kalamazoo Speedway just a couple of weeks ago. That of course saw Val Moscow go to victory lane. And if things go accordingly here, we could see a new points leader in Terry Walker potentially after this runner-up spot, after this runner-up finish. Hartnett's going to get right on by Terry Walker. Remember, that's not for race position, but that is for an opportunity to get back on the lead lap. So far, Max Anderson is a good ways away from Emmanuel Hartnett. And just further behind the 38, 2 seconds back is Terry Walker, and then BB Haynes, a celebrity driver, currently running in third. Our 2023 Pumpkin 250 winner and 2024 NRLA McDonald's Cup Series Daytona 500 champion, currently running in that third position, mixing it up with everybody else. Remember, he's got nothing to lose in terms of which series he's racing for, because he's just in this all for himself. So even if he potentially wins this race, winning it for himself, if he wins the championship, again, he's doing it all for himself. So he has no loyalty to any series as of right now. Coming to 48 to go here at Dell's Raceway Park. So far, Max Anderson has definitely been dominating with a almost 2.5 second lead now on Terry Walker. He has opened it up by quite a bit, and it's just that gap is continuing to grow a little bit more. 2.4 seconds on Terry Walker. All while still running in the middle of this pack that has now gotten themselves into a little bit of a single file rhythm. And then you get back over here to Travis Crampton, currently running in the 20th position. Man, this is just a night that Crampton wants to forget, because he unfortunately brought out our first and currently only caution of this race by absolutely just nailing the pit entry and just hitting the pit official in the process, who was just holding the flags. And I bet you Bob had definitely seen his life flash before his eyes there when Crampton just came in hot off of turn number 2 when he was trying to get off the racetrack and into the pit area. And then on the restart, Travis Crampton got turned by his good buddy Nathan Stapleton. Boy, that's definitely going to be a very fun meeting in the Discord, if you will, as Carson Miller goes right on by Crampton. That is not for official race position. You got Joshua Neely getting by his boss of Russell Blaze, who is also not on the lead lap. But they are fighting for position while being a lap down, so that was for 15th. So Neely making up a little bit of ground. There's Claire Phillips in the 41, having herself a pretty good night so far, running inside of the top 10 in that 6th position. And I'm personally hoping and praying that that success here for tonight translates over to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park as far as that momentum is concerned. But we'll just have to wait and see. Phillips has been able to pick it up a little bit in the NOS Energy Cup side of things, and definitely has been doing a pretty good job in her sophomore season. But fingers crossed, hopefully she's able to keep that momentum going. Eric Blaze, I think, just ran wide going through turns 1 and 2, as he is now all the way back. He just fell way back, actually. Got passed by Bruno Diacomo for that 9th spot. And now here comes Max Anderson on Eric Blaze to try to put him a lap down. If he can just stay on the back bumper of the 33 and maybe see if he can get by. Oh boy, Max Anderson goes a little bit wide through turn 4. Here comes Wyatt Walker to the inside. This is trying to get back on the lead lap. Now at this point, what Walker needs is a caution to come out. If that's the case, then that will allow Wyatt Walker to have an opportunity to win this race. Bryce Egan to the inside of Sarah Taylor. And then you got Emmanuel Hartnett in the 7 trying to come back. Oh boy, that 29 just absolutely got a little bit squirrely coming off of turn number 4. That allows Hartnett to close up and by and get around that 29 rather. There's Terry Walker in the 20, who has definitely ate into that 2.4 second gap, or even higher, that Max Anderson had over Walker. Is now actually, unfortunately, Max Anderson has opened it up a little bit more on Terry Walker. Unfortunate though for Terry, as he's trying to get by all this traffic. And the next car that Terry Walker would have to deal with, should he get by Emmanuel Hartnett, is Max Anderson's teammate Bryce Egan. So I think for Anderson, this has to be a saving grace and kind of a blessing in disguise that the next car back from you, that the car behind you rather, is your teammate. So the question now becomes, since Max Anderson, or at least Bryce Egan, is a lap down, does he go to block for his teammate Max Anderson, or does he do what other drivers have done, and that's to do the best that he can to let the other lead lap cars by, so that way there is a clean fight for the race victory. There is a lot of things to consider, especially if you are the teammate of Max Anderson, that being Bryce Egan here in this 34, who currently just got around the 77 of Bruno Giacomo for that 11th position. As you just saw on the ticker, Wyatt Walker has moved up inside of the top 10. Eric Blaze still holding on to 9th. And battle for position is on here between the 2 and the 43. Or at least Tyler Ferris is currently in the 8th position. Alexander Rowe is the last car, 1 lap down in 19th. Coming to 20 laps of racing to go from here at the Dells Raceway Park. We had a very bizarre turn to this race that saw the lead change hands from Eric Blaze, who is going to have all the bonus points for leading a lap and leading the most laps here tonight. Goes from him dominating this race to just absolute pandemonium on the caution, where everybody's trying to figure out exactly where they need to be and who's going into the pits. Everybody bumping and banging into one another, just running each other over. Ultimately, that saw Max Anderson grab the lead out of all that after running in second pretty much most of the night. And he has not looked back from there. He's opened it up to a 2.5 seconds on Wyatt Walker's father, Terry. Speaking of Wyatt Walker, you just saw him go a lap down to Max Anderson. Eric Blaze going really wide through the corner. We're coming down to 15 laps of racing to go from here at the Dells Raceway Park. So very, very wild event here in Wisconsin to conclude the first half of the Hoosier Summer Tour. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the Hoosier Summer Tour will be off next week, but we'll be back in action on the 22nd of July, live right here on YouTube. We'll be at the Anderson Speedway, and future WRLA action coming up tomorrow night. The Truck Series returns at the Jacasa Speedway out in Ontario, Canada. And then the NOS Energy Cup Series comes back on the 11th of July at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So that's definitely going to be a very fun weekend of racing. And that action goes live on Twitch. Wyatt Walker almost turned race leader Max Anderson, just trying to get by him to get back on the lead lap. Boy, Wyatt getting a little bit antsy here. But regardless, he is still on track for his 3rd consecutive top 10 here in the Hoosier Summer Tour. 10 fingers, 10 laps to go. And Terry Walker has now bit into that lead. He's now under a second from Max Anderson. Are now 1.1 seconds. Anderson opens it up a little bit more going through turns 3 and 4. And honestly, I do believe that Wyatt Walker getting into the back of the 38 of Max Anderson could have been the only opportunity that Terry Walker needed in order to try to win this race. But I'd say regardless of that, it's still a very valiant effort on Terry Walker's end, holding on to that second position. Ultimately kind of fell right into his lap, but definitely going to make the best out of it. Coming down to it, 5 fingers in the air, 5 laps of racing to go for Max Anderson. Who managed to grab the lead away under caution and has not looked back from there. Actually, he got passed by, I believe it was BB Hange for the top position, but he was able to take it back and hasn't looked back from there. 3 laps to go, and that gap between himself and Terry Walker has opened up a little bit more once again, now by 2 seconds. So at this rate, Max Anderson can start breathing. 2 laps to go. Actually, coming to the white flag this time by Max Anderson. Will see it. 1 lap to go. And now I think at this point, Max Anderson can breathe as he heads through turns 1 and 2. Backstretch one final time. And how about this? Max Anderson off the corner wins it here in Dells Raceway Park. Coming home in second will be BB Hange. Finishing in the 3rd spot will be the number 20 of Terry Walker. Coming home 4th will be Claire Phillips. Kenny Stremme rounds out your top 5. Carson Miller finishing in the 6th position. Then in 7th, what a great rebound for him, Ryan Kendall. And then in the 8th spot will be Wyatt Walker. Coming home in 9th will be Eric Blaze. And oh boy, Tyler Ferris rounds out your top 10 here tonight. Take a look at the rest of your results. You got Sarah Taylor finishing in the 11th position. Then in 12th, you got Bryce Egan, Emmanuel Harnett, Bruno Diacomo, Joshua Neely, Russell Blaze, Nathan Stapleton, Eli Bright, Alexander Rowe, Travis Crampton, Val Mosco, and Ajax Fitzgerald, who has unfortunately become our first retiree of the Hoosier Summer Tour season. Just definitely a very tough break there for the number 88 of Ajax Fitzgerald. Why don't we go ahead and review what happened that caused our first and only caution of the night. And just on top of that, why don't we go ahead and just review everything that just happened on that pace lap, or at least under caution, because that was just absolutely wild stuff, to say the least. And we're gonna follow along with Travis Crampton first. Actually, we should definitely just give me 1 second here, folks. We're definitely gonna do this first. We're gonna save the replay and then we'll come back at it. Let's just make sure that we're not going to crash the game. But we'll review the crash here in just a moment. And alrighty. So, with that said, now let's go back and review what happened to Travis Crampton. This is what started this whole mess. As pit stops were beginning, actually the caution was already out at this point. So let's go back a little bit more. This is what happened. So you see, Claire Phillips just absolutely doored Crampton as he was trying to she was trying to get into the pits, as was the 55. But you see Crampton rides the wall, loses control, tries, oh my goodness gracious, Bob definitely saw his life flash before his eyes right there, and he immediately reacts by throwing the red flag out, signifying that pit lane is closed. But you saw some drivers on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. They were entering a closed pit, and they were doing so in a hurry. But you definitely saw where Eric Blaze got his damage, but the pits at this rate, let's go ahead and now review everything that just happened under caution. Let's run it in 3x slow speed. Blaze comes back out. And then this is where all the confusion and all the troubles begin. First, I do believe, yes, you see Claire Phillips kind of riding up against the wall, as is the 33 of Eric Blaze. But watch this. Coming off of turn number 4, you're going to see that Blaze gets off the wall, but eventually Blaze just comes to a dead stop, and I don't think Fitzgerald realized it and just clobbers into the back end of Eric Blaze, and that's what ultimately ended Fitzgerald's night. So then we're going to continue it on. So Fitzgerald goes on. He's going to pull it back behind. He pulls it back behind the wall. And then you're going to have several drivers not know exactly what to do here. So they come to a dead stop. Walker and Sarah Taylor and several others. There's just so much that just happened here. And then you saw Sarah Taylor. Let's go ahead and rewind and show you this again. But you saw Sarah Taylor. She kind of was just kind of spun out, or at least sideways. But then I guess the game kind of just said, you know what? Oh, that's where she got more of her damage. Nathan Stapleton got into the back of her. Alexander Rowe came to a stop, and then he got it back going. And then Max Anderson kind of just Ross Chastains it. And then several drivers make the trip into pit lane, but there's just so much that happened here, especially in this group where I think everybody was just trying to catch up to the pace cars, that way they can get by. But again, just lots and lots of confusion here as to where everybody should be and vice versa. It's kind of the disadvantage of creating a racetrack and setting the pit lane outside of the racing surface. This is where the drivers got one to go, and it's just all out pandemonium. Everybody's trying to get in line. Everybody's trying to find exactly where they need to be. But we're going to keep our eyes here on Nathan Stapleton as you're going to watch this. This is going to be very interesting. Green flag comes back out. Everybody is on the tail of the lead lap. And then right here, Travis Crampton gets turned by his buddy Nathan Stapleton. Oh my goodness gracious. That is going to be a very interesting meeting. We're going to show you guys that one more time. And man, oh man. What can you say to this? What can you say to this? But ladies and gentlemen, I do believe, again, Stapleton and also Travis Crampton, they will be having some words to exchange here post-race, and especially once we go to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park this Saturday night. And they'll definitely do what they can to put the shenanigans behind them and move it on to the next event, next WRLA festivities, when the NOS Energy Cup Series returns at Mo Sport. And the Hoosier Summer Tour will be off next week, but we'll be back in action, as I mentioned, July 22nd at the Anderson Speedway. It is definitely going to be a very fun time. We're hoping that you guys can tune in here on YouTube for the action. And thank you guys so much for watching WRLA Hoosier Summer Tour racing from here at the Dells Raceway Park. If you guys like this video, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to consider subscribing in order to keep up with all the WRLA content that will be posted all throughout the 2026 season. And your point standings will be coming your way very soon. I'm Elijah Leonard signing off. Take care, and we will see you all tomorrow night with the WRLA Menards Truck Series at the Jukasa Speedway on Twitch. We'll do that one more time. Now, have yourselves a fantastic night, and we'll see you all tomorrow night at the Jukasa Speedway. This WRLA telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or reused without any authorized written consent of 11 Broadcasting. WRLA would like to thank all of our loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.